And it says we're live.
It lies.
Well, it changed color.
Well, with those shirts, you'd think it would. All right, folks. Who knows? Just donate money.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
I think the air conditioner's running today, but it's spring in Texas. Who the hell knows?
It's not snowing
It's not
yet.
If you like good coffee, order from these folks, particularly their Blanket Fort blend. For some reason, we really enjoy the Blanket Fort blend. Let them know you heard about it here. And as always, okay.
And we're not sure if Frank is working today or whether Harvey is stepping in to replace him as the NSA rep for the day.
Frank's probably toes up in an ICU somewhere. Liver done checked out.
Yeah. Well, since this is supposed to be a book day, and
okay.
Jeez.
We gave him a list.
Yeah, I think gave you a list. Everybody needs to now hear this. Steam powered postcards will be live this Friday, the first Friday of Fool's Con. Law Dog Files, which you just saw, live on April 21st, which I think is the Friday after that. Space Marines 1, April 28th. Space Marines 2, it closes April 30th. Okay, you're up.
I was told I need to mention Twisted Tropes yet again.
Yes.
We only got to number 5. We did not get a orange tag, but I really do appreciate the people that picked it up. He
am writer, folks.
Yeah. I can even spell SPEL. I just put commas at the end and let the editor put them in where she wants them. But it is doing well. I do appreciate it. Yeah, words real good. People seem to really like Cedar's story and Dot's story. Yeah, you owe me one, Brennan. Yeah. Thanks, Steph. You fixed my problems. Yes, I know some of them.
We do need commas fairly frequently.
Joy, Winkle Red. Our aircrew cold weather survival training, occupational health monitoring. Yeah. Did they freeze to death? Yes. No. If yes, do this. If no, do that.
If yes, yell at the NCOs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Back to step 1.
Yeah, back to step 1 with another set of volunteers. I just drew a blank. It's not unusual.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Ross 248.
Yes.
Coming out May the 2nd. Actually got an attaboy from Les yesterday on Facebook. He is actually putting up all the authors. Thank you, DA. And giving a shout out to the and more crowd, which I'm one of for that one.
Go Team and more.
Yeah. And that will be out May the 2nd. It is available now for pre-order.
Yay. Let's find out what pre-order's like.
I don't know.
It's really odd because we have a David Bach and a D.A. Brock in here.
Yeah. And they are two entirely different people.
I hope so.
The redefinition of organized crime. That was that was a fun little story to write. And yes, some people have seen Mona Lisa's story before. It was in the first Tales Around the Supper Table. But it was such a good story, and that was what actually got us started on Twisted Tropes. Before we go any further, I do want to get a rant off my chest.
Oh, please do.
These idiots, and I use that term loosely, rant first, in government are killing the Navy. They are making us even less capable than the Chinese. Right now, we're losing the battle with the Chinese. They have built 8 destroyers or 8 cruisers since 2020. 8. We have built 0. People are saying, oh, well, you've got the Arleigh Burkes, which are the same thing as a Chinese cruiser. No, it's not. And secondly, if you want to compare cruisers or destroyers to destroyers, we built 9. The Chinese have built 19. We're losing. And Gettysburg has been in the yards for 8 years getting an upgrade. It was supposed to take 2 years.
Wow.
Which is meaning that ships are having to change home port. Not by choice. They're having to change battle groups or support more than one battle group. Not by choice. Raptor, theirs actually work. They're baseline ships, but they do work. Right now, we got a bunch of ships out there that work for versions of work, but they have mismatched systems on them. So you can't pull somebody off one ship, put it on another ship, and expect him to be able to operate the boat correctly. We're sunken high in tit. And the Chinese know it, and we know it. And things are about to get interesting.
Have you seen the Taiwanese morale patches?
Mm-hmm.
Those are fantastic.
Yes, they are. Sounds a whole lot like the 1930s U.S. Navy, also the 1970s U.S. Navy.
Ding. Yes. Thank you, Cedar. We did not plan this.
Nope. Nope. I am back. It's after Easter. I'm back in shorts. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and the other, by the way, is we're down to averaging 7,000 man-day delays in maintenance. So if you spread that across the fleet, that's an average per ship of 23 days of delay per maintenance period. Most of that occurs in the first quarter of the year, October to December, because they can't let contracts for maintenance until the NDAA is approved and signed, which usually does not occur until November, maybe if we get lucky. The problem with that is we have ships scheduled to go into maintenance in October. They can't pay for it. They can't order equipment. They can't make sure they've got enough personnel on hand to do the maintenance. So all those ships then shift. The further right you shift, the worse shape the boat's in. And they end up shortcutting the maintenance periods and dumping shit back on the crews to do that should be done in the yards, like painting, maintenance on the decks, maintenance on the back of, especially for the DDs that land helicopters, on that back deck to clean the deck off, put down new non-skid, everything else. That's labor intensive. Well, understand, Brennan, Air Force is probably way the hell ahead, maintenance-wise, than the Navy. because you're not trying to fix ships. The fact that you're on a semi-permanent 6-day, 12-hour schedule is actually good compared to the Navy. We've got kids on the deck plates that are working 90, 100-hour weeks with no days off. It's not a win-win for anybody. So anyway, yeah. And saltwater is liquid hate. That is true. If you look at some of the ships sailing around out there today, and yes, I'm an old fart. When we were in, we would have never allowed a ship to look that bad. There is not enough time, effort, or equipment to keep them up. Especially not with the crews being shorthanded by 20 to 40 people per crew. Yeah, Raptor. But the sailors know how to address their superior officer by the proper pronouns. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Sean, it's no worse than what Michigan State University just put out.
I like the pronoun thing. I really do, because it gives me a pretty good idea of who not to hire or promote or be around.
Well, now, according to Michigan State, you can't say Christmas, you can't say any religious holidays, nor can you allude to them by saying Christmas tree or
Oh,
bunnies or eggs.
That won't last.
And Courtney's sitting over there going,
Yeah, that won't last.
I just remember being told 10 years ago that there's no war on Christmas.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Liars.
Kelly, I only have proper length shorts because I wear shorts, not knee pants. Why does everybody start giggling when I say that? So, yes, they are the proper length, as
Yeah.
God and Cecil Rhodes intended.
Yeah, Doug, I remember those days. The Enterprise was getting beat pretty hard back in 73, 74. And the fantail was the one area that nobody wanted to work on that boat.
Anywho,
Yeah.
on to something a little more cheerful. I have no idea what that will be, but
Courtney has something.
Oh, well, we just posted the we have the cover for postcards
we do.
from for
Steam.
that's one. Steve. Oh, brain is braining today.
Think pudding, awfully fizzy.
Yes. So we have to pull that up because we have it and it's so pretty.
Dad bod Fox in a Speedo. Jesse.
What?
I'm gonna
Image
go
from-
with
What the hell
no.
did that come from?
I don't know.
The proper size shorts.
I don't think he's
They're
got
shorts.
a pith helmet, Kevin.
They're
or Kermit.
shorts. They're not knee pants. If I'm wearing knee pants, I'll put on knee pants.
At least they're not jorts.
Yeah.
We discovered yesterday that gin and tonics made with Bombay Bramble are really, really good.
They are delicious.
I got a guest spot on the Three Moms of the Apocalypse broadcast yesterday while they were taping it. And Courtney handed me a gin and tonic. And 90 seconds later, she made me another one because yesterday was one of those days.
Yeah,
And-
you like sucked that thing down like.
It was good. I will
was
be
rather
honest.
impressive,
It was good.
so-
So we have the
So this is important though. We have to explain this cover. So
yes. So we have the cover for Steam Powered Postcards. We literally just added it to the PubShare account.
Well, put it where everybody can see it.
I want to make sure they wanted me to because
yes,
Yes.
there is an executive decision on here.
yes. So if you look at the very last name on that, there's a person sitting at the table here whose name is on there too, and we're proud of him. But
Mhm.
the very last name we're particularly thrilled by.
Yes.
So
When I found out that Remy Denote had 8 years old, had turned in a story.
oh my God,
And she was in the Add More, and I made an executive decision.
being the publisher, you can do that.
I'm allowed to do that. I own the damn company. So the reason why was Miss Remy apparently turned in a story to her school teacher.
Yeah.
And the school teacher bounced it. Because it was apparently not proper subject matter for an 8-year-old girl.
It was a murder mystery and it was awesome. Like,
Don't give it away.
she's a writer. I'm here to tell you that no good writer writes anything that's age appropriate.
Nope.
So I contacted Cedar right on the cover, contacted Cedar and said, hey, put Remy on there. And actually, Brendan's Brendan on here?
Yeah.
Brendan, I actually said bounce Brendan. He's already been on the cover.
And not Jeff is our cover model.
Yeah. So Cedar, I don't have to, and sent me that. It's like, yep, run with it. So 8-year-old Miss Remy gets to take a book in, an actual published book, and hopefully smack her teacher with it. But
We do not condone assaults, although we occasionally encourage
she's
it.
8 years old. She is incapable of committing the crime of assault.
And Mama and Daddy are both writers.
Yes,
And
So that acre did not fall far from that tree.
not at all.
And the great thing, she did a postcard. The reason she's on the cover, she did a postcard for SteamCon, and we've actually got an image of the crayon, the 8-year-old. It was a little long, and her mommy and daddy helped her condense it down to 50, and it's a good little story.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm quite happy to send that little girl a check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was adorable. Like the handwritten pictures that we got of her first story
Yeah.
were just like, oh my god! It was fantastic. I was so happy to see it. And no, she will not get to do time in Team and more.
No, she doesn't even get to be in Tina and more. Never. Did you send me that?
Yes, I will send you that.
Okay. Right. So we did boot Brennan off, didn't we?
No,
Brett-
Cedar made it fit.
Cedar made it fit.
She made it fit.
What?
Nothing. We'll fix it. So
Brendan wants to know, speaking of murder mysteries, how about Spurgle and a racketeer gang at Motel 666?
No, I'm tickled pink. I was writing at 8. I don't see, so you put 8-year-old damn Skippy. She wrote a good story.
I got sent to the school psychiatrist because I was writing at 8. But yes.
So
I saw and I understood Remy's story because I'm like, I wrote that at the same age. And I loved it. It's so fantastic.
I actually said contact Chris to note and find out what the school and what her teacher's name is. And 2 ladies here went, no.
Raptor goes, same lady wanted me to explain to the class the poetry and symbolism of the passage I'd written. Said passage described a Russian PMC getting splattered across the ceiling by a grenade.
I love the symbolism.
Yes.
Communism getting made gooder. So if anybody sees Christopher Denote or Remy on Facebook, congratulate him. Congratulate him for having a fantastic daughter, and pass along she's on the cover. She went right past and more because executive privilege.
Yeah, there are any number of ways to end up covered in manure, trust me. The blood, whatever.
Yeah, it's a redistribution in action right there.
Yeah.
No, it's some of the stuff I actually love about this. There's a bunch of it's a pain in the ass. There's a bunch of it's a pain in the ass. There's a lot of it I love, and new authors is one of them.
Yeah. Well, the reason I was chuckling about the redistribution was a few years ago, I was out visiting the kids for Christmas in California and ended up at a hotel down in Sacramento because oldest daughter didn't have room at the house. And I'm too damn old to sleep on the couch. And this was the same week that they were having a convention of law enforcement investigators in Sacramento. And apparently, the day before, blood spatter at suicides had been the discussion of the day. And they continued it at breakfast. And, I'm sitting there saying, yeah, I can remember some of that shit. And I look over, and there's this lady sitting a table or two away. And she's eating, and she's she looks at the table, eats a couple of more bites, looks at the table again, puts her knife and fork down, gets this expression on her face like, what did I just hear? And the one guy's talking about blood spatter on the ceiling when the guy put the pistol on her. And she turned about 14 shades of green and was gone.
God, about witness, I'll never eat spaghetti again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I was 8. Probably, I was a single digits, and I wrote a story I was quite happy with, involving the assassination of the President of the United States. Just go ahead and kill that drink, Frank, and pour another one. And using what I thought was a very unique, and turned out to be a very unique method to do so. And Mom and Dad made me change that from the president to a U.S. the president of a company.
Yeah.
Oh, I was furious. I was furious. I can remember being so pissed, and they said, Ian, you can't write that. I said, why not? I'm American. I have freedom of speech. I can write whatever I want. No, change it.
Yeah.
No. They made me change it. Oh, I was furious. I was fucking furious over that for years.
And obviously have not forgotten that.
No. I had the, no, I'm not going to say it here because Frank will show up. Yeah, Frank's drinking straight chloroform right now.
Yeah. Continue.
I'm in the chat.
I wrote, I remember, oh God, Mrs. Bell I turned in she asked for stories. She was my English teacher in high school. And she wanted stories for Halloween. So she has 2 weeks to write a short story for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I fluffed it off. And I had homeroom. Do they still have homeroom class?
I don't think so.
It's weird. At least at my son's school, it was. They had their first class of the day was homeroom, and it wasn't like a specific just thing. It was they had an extra 15 minutes for administration.
We had homeroom, which was an entire period.
Yeah.
That we could do whatever we wanted, and it was right before Mrs. Bell's English class. So I wrote this 8,000 word short story in 55 minutes or 50 minutes prior to, and she made me go down and read it on a loudspeaker for the entire school. Oh my God, I hated that. It was a decent little story. It was a decent little vampire story. He exploded in a big thing of clotted blood. But they made me go down and read it over the loudspeaker, and I hated that shit. And I never wrote anything for her after that ever again.
So my senior year of high school, we had 2 assignments that our grade was going to be on. First semester was a research paper. Second semester was write an essay. Combine 2 classes that you took, no minimum, no maximum, just write an essay. And I forgot about it until the day before it was due. So I turned in a flash narrative that combined my psychology class and my philosophy class.
Okay.
Nietzsche Superman as teenage girl.
Okay.
Exactly 1 page long. Only A I ever got in that class. Because I turned it in and he goes, "This is it." I'm like, "Yep," because that takes some balls. And I'm like, "Yes, it does." And then walked off and graduated.
John says, one of my short stories in elementary got a parent-teacher conference. Yeah,
I got those out having to write.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mona Lisa in the 80s, early 80s, the American public school system was very definitely about meeting formulas
Yeah.
and making sure real early 80s. I remember we were in Carlin, Nevada, and the screen just did something squirrely. We're in Carlin, Nevada, and I was in English, and we had the textbook was a collection of short stories, and I've looked for this textbook since then because God Almighty, it was bloody awful. And the entire textbook was what we would, and this would be 82. This would be 82, I think, 81 or 82. The entire textbook is what we would call woke. It was bloody awful. Half the stories, the Christian religion was the bad guy. Government, that every one of the stories that I remember, the government was the good guy, and even then I knew this was Codswallop. But it's absolutely terrible, bloody awful collection of short stories, and it was that damn thick. And I went through it twice, trying to find a story that was readable, and I read every one of them, and they were all damned awful. But I found out later I didn't need to read the whole thing. And bearing in mind, up until then, I'd either been in an American community school or under a tutor. And if you had a book, you read the book.
Mhm.
So here I am, my first American American public school. I read the damn book. Found out later there were like 5 short stories that the teacher actually wanted us to read.
Back in the 60s, being the old fart at the table, we had to write, I'm not going to say creative fiction, but we had to write a semi-autobiographical for speech class.
I can have fun with that.
And I will never forget, Ms. Henderson was our speech teacher. And she said, when she gave us the assignment, she handed out papers to everybody and said, "This is what you cannot put in it." Apparently, in talking to some of my classmates years later, the previous year, one of the people had described in intimate detail,
That's a bad start right there.
yes, the birthing of a calf.
I'm not sure I'd use intimate and birthing of a calf because that starts getting into
How about excruciating?
okay, excruciating. I'll go into because intimate-
Including the glove and the sleeve and
been there, done that.
Mhm.
Because intimate sort of brings up the confusion about animal husbandry.
well, there might have been a stump broke question in there too, but
Let's see if anybody else remembers this textbook. There was one story, and it was about how the Christians had outlawed abortion, and it was told from 2 different sides, and one of them was the heroic resistance, and talking about his wife and their 12 kids, and the other side was a congressman whose wife had irregular periods, and thus they didn't have the children, but he was working to remove the abortion restrictions. And the freedom fighter blew up set off a suicide bomb and killed the one congressman that was going to roll back the abortion restrictions. And there was another one, family was an affair and overpopulation, and to pay for anything, you put your wrist on a device, and random numbers. If you rolled a random number, you were injected with poison. And it was talking about how the father was so heroic because they went to a fair and he paid for his wife and all of the kids. And people were saying how they wouldn't do that, and how heroic he was. And the last part of it that made me throw the book across the room was he was talking to these people about how heroic he was, and then the wife took the kids for ice cream and came back, and 2 of the balloons didn't have kids attached.
Mm.
It's like, this is bloody fucking awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Speaking of paying for things, EU has come out with a new regulation that anything that costs more than 1,000 euros has to be paid for by credit card to be tracked.
what?
Yeah.
You can't pay cash?
Nope.
They're going to pay cash anyway.
That will get you arrested, or I take it back, not arrested. That will get you put on a list
Darn.
called, I think, gray marketing.
It's great marketing.
Yeah.
It would be great marketing, but it's cash. How are they going to know unless the guy getting cash snitches you out?
That's the question.
Trust me, I know how this shit works.
And that's one that nobody's got a good answer to.
Well, Nigeria has been trying the central bank digital currency.
Yeah.
It's Nigeria. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not going over well. Nobody could have ever foreseen that shit.
Yeah.
Mailman walks in, mailman walks out.
Mailman knows better than to stick around.
He don't want to be all this. No, but again, okay. How are you going to know unless the guy you're giving the money to snitches you out? How are you going to? How's the government going to know? It's cash.
Well, it's a private sale, but if it's a business, they have to report it.
Mhm.
And if they don't, how are they going to know?
I'll tell you something. In San Francisco, it was amazing how many restaurants were cash only.
Hmm.
And I'll bet you about a third of their sales are actually getting reported.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
They
speaking
report a percentage, but not a whole lot.
of San Francisco, you heard about what closed yesterday. The one Whole Foods in the Tenderloin that's only been there a year.
Well,
Got
not
tired of getting ripped
surprising.
off.
Tenderloin's one of the worst areas of town.
Yeah.
It really is. And it always has been. It's always been the place that's been horrible. When you get out of the downtown core of San Francisco, it's really not bad. I mean, we get into you get into the Asian neighborhoods, and nobody's doing shit over there because the little ladies will shank your ass.
Yeah.
So the whole outer Sunset over on the Pacific Coast side towards South San Francisco is very pretty and still very safe.
Yeah.
But you get outside of that, not so much.
And then you get down toward Palo Alto, East Palo Alto.
Yeah, that's and
You
just don't
take
go
your
across the
life in your
bridge.
hands.
You don't take the BART downtown to the main,
No.
but by Market Street, it's just terrible. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's not anywhere near as nice as it was even 5 years ago. So
If you're required to report $1,000, what's going to happen is you'll buy a thing of ibuprofen for 1,000 euros. You'll hand over 500 now, and next week you'll hand over the next 500.
Mhm. Or you buy it in pieces.
Or
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's another reason they want to go to the cash or want to go to credit cards or central bank cash
Central bank digital. They want to go to digital currency because
Yeah,
they track everything.
is to track things like tips, because one of the things that they have said these new IRS IRS agents are going to be doing is tracking tips for wait staff.
yeah, they always have.
Mhm.
Well, the digital currency, they're coming at us sideways, and people are buying it. I don't understand why people are buying this. Mostly kids. I don't understand why they're buying it. One is fairness. The whole thing of central bank digital currency, it'll be harder. Everybody will pay their fair share of taxes, and the fucking kids are buying this.
Yep.
And the second is security. This way, with a digital currency, nobody will be committing crimes with cash, and people are buying this.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're understanding it.
Yeah, Mona Lisa, they're going after the millionaire waiters. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, waiters you've always been expected to pay taxes on what they think you made in tips.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't make that in tips,
still have to pay
you still have to
taxes.
pay the taxes on what they think you should have made in tips.
Yeah.
Which
Well-
is bullshit. And why I get very frustrated with people who tip
Mhm.
50 cents. on
Well, that's one of the
500
one of the very few things I think the Europeans have right is not no tip system.
Yeah.
I don't think wait staff should.
Well, they're also paid a hell of a lot more than they are here.
Yeah, I think bump up to what.
Australia was, and this was 2013. a wait staff in Australia averaged making $26 an hour,
Not that much.
Yeah.
But,
but there was no tipping.
waiters should be getting minimum wage.
Yeah.
If you're gonna set a minimum wage, if you're stupid enough that your government's gonna set a minimum wage, then everybody should make at least minimum wage. This whole making half minimum wage because tips will no, screw that. If you're stupid enough to fall for the minimum wage bullshit, then everybody should start. I mean, that should be the minimum for everybody.
Rapture, that was in Aussie dollars, which at the time was, I think, 94 cents. US dollar was 94 cents against the Australian dollar. So it's pretty close to 1-to-1.
My uncle in the 70s averaged $100 an hour as a waiter, as
Yeah.
a bartender, on tips.
Yeah.
His entire check went to pay his taxes.
Yeah.
But he made $100 an hour in the 70s
Yeah.
as a bartender. So I can see why good wait staff would not want to go away from tips, because they're going to make more on that than they would with that.
Yeah.
At an hourly wage.
Well, then they can go to minimum wage, and still make tips and screw it.
Well, if you're depending on where your wait staff at is a major factor.
Mhm.
Private clubs,
Mhm.
wait staff at those places make $70,000-$80,000 a year.
Yeah, because they're
Certain restaurants, and the one I can remember is the Embers down in New Orleans. Wait staff knew everybody there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you'd been in there more than once, they knew what you drank, what you liked to eat, how you liked it cooked,
Mhm.
and they made a butt ton of money.
No politicians. Okay, politicians should be making. Congress critters should be making whatever a captain in the 03 in the military makes.
Yeah.
Senators should be making whatever an 05 in the military makes. Their retirement should be military retirement. If you don't do your full 20, you don't get one. Sorry.
Yeah.
And any perks they get should come off a military base.
Yep.
Period.
That's a that's a conversation that could run for 2 or 3 days.
If they want a free haircut, AFES.
Yeah.
If they want free booze, they got to go to the class 9.
Yeah. I can remember in the early 70s bartending in Georgia, part-time on the weekends, making more than I was making from the Navy in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Of course, my paycheck then was a whole $52 every 2 weeks.
Sean, do we really want to further incentivize politicians hanging around DC for 20 years? They are anyway.
Yeah.
You've got Nancy Pelosi, who apparently crossed the Delaware with Washington.
Well, her money doesn't come from her. She gets her.
Why didn't you
salaries
push her
from-
out of the boat, Jim?
That would have been helpful. Most of her money
Leave
doesn't
it to
come
them.
from her salary as a congressman, though. It all comes from insider trading. Which,
Yeah, point. But they get a hell of a salary.
Mhm.
Alexandria Occasional Cortex, for God's sake, if they turf her out of office now, we'll get paid what she's getting paid now for the rest of her life. Seriously?
Sarah says she was cute at the time. I don't think Pelosi's ever been cute.
No,
Uh,
just slightly less pickled.
yeah.
No, it's they. If you get voted out after 2 years or 4 years, you don't get a retirement. Right now, if they don't get reelected after 2 years, they get what they're getting paid now for the rest of their lives, which is bullshit.
Mhm.
Well, they already get tips. I mean, that's how they turn into millionaires. Yeah.
And there should be no. I want an amendment to the Constitution that says that outside of getting while on the on the Capitol floor during session and to and from during session, at all other times, all other laws apply to those rat bastards.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You can't, no law, going to session and going to session. We don't want to stop them from going to session. We don't want to arrest them on the Capitol floor.
Well, you can't anyway.
Right. There's reason for that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, all other laws should apply.
Yep. The extent that some of them go to tweak the perks is always interesting.
They're people. People are rat bastards, and they will game the system however they can.
Yeah. Free
And I-
postal franking, good example.
And I don't mind people gaming the system. They do that. If they don't, if you've got somebody, a Congress creator, who's not gaming the system that you know of, he is doing something dirty somewhere else. I'd rather have the minor corruption I can see and it's accepted than having the major corruption I can't see. That annoys me.
Yeah, ag currency exchange is always interesting. And being caffeinated helps. Because you don't want to make the mistake and go the wrong way with the currency exchange. It costs you money.
But and I seriously think that every presidential election, the people should vote in each state 50 citizens, good and true, who can't be lawyers, can't be politicians, and can't be beholden to anybody, whose sole and only purpose for the next 4 years is criminal investigations of politicians.
Tom says congressional requirements same as civil service. 5 years to be minimally vested. That they are slime, but they do not get full pay after a few short years. That's a
Oh.
good point.
I was misinformed.
Yeah.
My bad. No, these 50 people would watch the news and decide when and where and who they want to investigate. Beholden to none, 4-year term. You don't get a second term with carte blanche to conduct criminal investigations on politicians.
Yeah, Winkle Red. Always pay in local currency. That's right. Although green used to be the preferred currency in a lot of countries. Because you could get more with green than you could get with the local
My
currency.
shiny yellow used to be, or still is.
Mhm.
There are more Krugerrands outside of South Africa than there are in.
Which is interesting because it's illegal to export Krugerrands outside of South Africa.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, sort of like jury duty. You don't get paid for it. You don't get paid for it. It's just 50 random, one random schmo from every state, and he's got a throw that ass in jail for free card.
Permanent grand jury. Yeah, that's about what it would be.
No, well, just 4 years.
And yeah, but it would be a rolling 4 years.
Mhm.
So new people every year. Once it had any power, you'd have to have people gaming the system. Yeah, that's right, Mona Lisa. Anytime there's anything that exists more than
The people will gain the system. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see some people start hanging.
yeah, well, investigations cost money, and that's a good point, Carlton. The question is who pays, and I don't have a good answer for that.
Seize the retirement of anybody you convict. Only politicians.
Winkle Red, I'm not sure if it's been lifted or not. I don't think it has.
I don't know. I do know that even when there was a ban, my father had a stack of Krugerrands.
Yeah,
Something being illegal has never actually stopped anybody. It just
No.
makes
Yeah.
it
Nope.
harder to track.
yeah. The things that we've done to I didn't know that. Maybe they have lifted it. I know a couple of years ago it was still in place.
David, the same as a grand jury. If the state of Texas can't pull $8 an hour aside, because these folks don't need to do it 24 hours a day. They sit there at the house drinking coffee, happy as a clam at high tide. They see, oh, Nancy Pelosi's on the news for making $130 million in 2 days and go, start and show up at DC and start their investigation.
Air curtain incinerators are far more efficient. This is true. Yeah, John, I remember also the Krugerrands were available back in the 80s. But I want to say it was the early 2000s that they, South Africa said, no more, not legal to export them.
But if you've got 50, one random person for every state, if you got 50 folks and you 8 or 12 to get the job done,
yeah,
and the state of Alaska can't pull together $8 a day like grand jurors,
15
or 15.
Yeah, it would be part time. It wouldn't be full time.
No, you couldn't do it full time.
Grand jury for journalists.
I don't care about journalism. They're evil suck monkeys, but they always have been. There's a term for yellow journalism for a reason. And William Randolph Hearst, give me the pictures, I'll give you the war. Journalists have been dirty from day one. I don't care. I just wish people would stop listening to them.
Yeah.
Gossip columns are more honest.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I remember when I was flying back and forth across the country all the time, I'd pick up a San Francisco Chronicle. We changed planes to St. Louis. I'd pick up St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Get to D.C. and I'd pick up the Post and the Washington Times. The same article would be in all 4 papers.
Mm-hmm. Getting off the wire.
With a snippet of truth in all 4 of them. But 4 entirely different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, folks that are upset about journalists being dirty, they always have been. We had a very, very brief period, very brief, where journalists actually somewhat mostly did their jobs, although that's debatable. Journalists have been dirty from the get-go. I don't like them. And events the past 3 years have done nothing to endear the little rat bastards to me. But I don't have any rancor against them. I don't want to throw them in prison. I just want people to stop listening to them.
Yeah. Yeah, Kermit flapping my wings all that distance was tiring. It was actually funny flying out, depending on which airport you flew out of back then. Because you could get out of Sacramento, or not Sacramento, San Francisco or San Jose. And the flights landed like an hour, half hour apart in St. Louis. And depending on the day of the week, one or the other of the flights would continue to DC. So one day it'd be the San Francisco flight would go all the way. The next day it would be the San Jose flight would go all the way. So scheduling through SATO was always interesting. Because if you've ever dealt with SATO, they are a pox on travel, period. They have screwed over more military people in more parts of the world than you can shake a stick at. They left a kid in Rome. This was back in the mid-90s, early 90s. Kid coming home on emergency leave. And SATO supposedly made his plane trip schedule, reservations for him. And he got to Rome, and his connecting flight was out of Paris.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is an 18-year-old kid, distraught.
Probably never been outside the United States. Have no idea where Paris is compared to Rome.
Yeah.
I would be perfectly happy. Okay, you got these 50 names for. I'm going to be on this for a while. 50 names for a year. You pull, let's say 9. get 9 of them together. It's like there's something on TV. Somebody done something bad. 9 of them get together. They go to DC. They do an investigation. They vote. Is this guy dirty or not? If a majority of them say yes, they don't even have to throw that particular ass monkey in jail. Just kick him out of office. He can run again, but you're out of office. These 9 folks say 5 folks say you're stupid. Get out of office. Which is, they don't necessarily have to throw the little rat bastards into jail. Just kick them out of office.
Yeah. Yeah, that would also work. Yeah, Kermit, you're a young pup. Sato was the Scheduled Airlines ticket office. I actually had a battle with them back in the 80s because I got sent down to Bay St. Louis, Mississippi for a set of meetings. And got down there, no problem. Flew San Francisco to St. Louis to New Orleans. Well, coming back, they routed me from New Orleans to Atlanta to Chicago to St. Louis to Las Vegas to San Francisco. And I walked over to the TWA counter and I said, I got this Sato ticket. And the lady looked at me and she said, so where are you trying to go? I said, San Francisco. She got $3. Yeah. She says, give me your $3. So I hand her $3. She hands me a ticket. New Orleans to St. Louis to Chicago to San Francisco. So I filed my travel claim. No biggie, right?
For $3.
I paid the $3 out of my pocket. No. 2 months later, I still have not gotten that travel claim processed, or the other 3 that followed behind it. And the admiral finally had to get involved, and he called the PSD officer over and asked why I had not been paid, because at that point they owed me like $12,000.
Jesus.
And the PSD officer with a straight face said, well, he violated Sato procedures by changing his own ticket. And the admiral looked at me and we went, what? And I explained to him I paid $3 to change the ticket so I could actually get home in the same friggin' day. And he looked at the PSD officer and said, pay him today. Well, sir, I can't. The admiral said, did you really just tell me you can't pay him? And the PSD officer light bulb finally went on above her head. Yeah. Maybe I do not want to tell a 2-star admiral I can't do something. But yeah, they are notorious. We're notorious then and still are.
On the subject.
Now
of
it's called
amendments,
DTS, Defense Travel Service.
On this subject of amendments, I want another amendment that says that there are only 2 votes in Congress, either an aye or a nay. No other votes. And any other vote present or not even vote, don't show up. It gets entered in congressional record as whichever maintains the status quo. So if you are going to pull Barack Obama and show up 930 squillion times and vote present, you vote for the stat. He's going to wind up voting for the status quo every goddamn time.
Yeah.
This whole not showing up to vote, well, maintain the status quo. Showing up to vote present. Are you seriously?
Yeah.
Anybody that votes present on the Capitol floor should be beaten with sticks.
Yeah.
I vote present. Bam, 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 bam. I'm just.
What the hell, Raptor? That sounds like. Are you
What?
sure you weren't in the Navy when you got that trip? Pittsburgh to Chicago to Dusseldorf to Linz to Salzburg. Jeez, talk about going around your elbow to get to your asshole there.
They had an Atlas and they were throwing darts at it.
Yeah.
That's where we'll send her next. That's her connecting flight.
Oh yeah. Well, and
Conflict of interest, votes for status quo.
where the toys flying FedEx. Our Continental back in the day. I went to Guam one time and my luggage went to Australia. Yeah, Brennan, Guam to Tokyo to LA. See, you could get away with that. I could not. I had to fly U.S. flag carrier, so I was in Australia and had to go to a meeting in Japan. So I had to fly all the way back to LA to turn around and fly to Tokyo to go to a 4-hour meeting, to go back to the airport, to fly back to LA and fly back to Australia. That sucked.
Joel says, if he remembers right, present means I'm here, but somebody on the other side of the issue can't be. That's dumb.
That's what it's supposed to mean.
That
Yeah,
was
it's
what
not-
it's supposed to be.
it's
And that's
not.
not what it means now.
I have a list of amendments. What is this?
I'll need those.
What the?
Ms. Jonna says that we need to send these to Congress critters. I shall read this for those who didn't see it. For prostatic distress, prostacones.
I'm not sure whether you eat those or stick them up an orifice.
It's a prostacone is definitely going to go up somewhere that things should not go up. Anyway, I've got a stack of amendments that I would really like to see passed.
Oh, I like that idea, Kermit. If they miss 3 votes or vote present in a session for any reason, then their office is vacant.
Yeah,
Yes.
works for me.
Prostacones, a division of spirulina.
Those are some weird spurglements. Well, how would you know? Because spurglements, I mean, they're not great. Post your amendments on log files.
So just so we can explain that.
Good Lord, John.
Oh, this isn't even. I've got.
Are
so
those
I've-
challenge coins?
There were 7 or 8 boxes of that
So
stuff.
see this bag. This bag here is full of medical tins. This is one bag out of 7 12 by 12 boxes from an estate that I'm currently putting up on eBay. And a lot of them are medical ones, and a lot of them are laxatives. And I keep thinking of people I could give them to. It's very satisfying work to sit here and do this, but
Prostacones. When do you have spurglements on the other side?
right, yeah. So there's some very interesting ones. It's all quack medicine from the early 20s.
Prostacones. They have to go in. They don't have to come out.
Right. It just gets worse, trust me. So, but there's so many things that people were using for medication then.
Yeah, and usually for the wrong reason.
For the wrong reasons. It's amazing when I'm researching a tin, how many lawsuits come up for each tin. It's like, wow. that
David
company
wants to know
was
what your eBay name is.
it's Tatters and Ravelings.
Tatters and Ravelings.
Yeah, and I'm just starting to get them loaded up, and I have thousands of them, literally thousands. So I'm just getting started, and oh wow, is it going to be fun?
Send a bunch to One Eye McCain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would the laxative be Spurglax? 38 watching, 10 likes. Wow.
Well, we're not doing all that well today.
Yeah. Apparently, you don't like my rants all that much.
Product testers for preparations A through G.
And we went from 10 to 9 to 16.
Oh, somebody took one away. Oh, Wallbanger, honestly, we don't even think about it.
No, not really.
You know, it's if you like us, you like us. If you don't, you don't.
That goes so many different ways. Are you going to be here Thursday?
Hopefully.
Is there a chance you won't be?
Yeah, depends on how long the physical goes.
Okay. Because apparently we're going to have a full popcorn gallery on Thursday.
Yeah.
Apparently, what's behind the camera will be loaded with people.
Yeah. Yeah, a number of people are apparently showing up on Thursday
Yes. Apparently showing up here on Thursday.
for something that doesn't start until Saturday.
And if on Thursday I'm doing this, It's because there's going to be a lot of people there.
Just to kind of fill people in, I am now officially on the Agent Orange registry as of last week. And I have a physical scheduled for this Thursday, again at Oklahoma City, to go over all the things wrong, i.e., the warranty has long run out and
Are they going to have a psychiatrist there? Because they're going over everything wrong. They're going to need a psych.
yeah, well, I'm not sure. So I said, I don't know how long this thing's going to last.
You do the spermal gurgle when you're choking on a prostacone.
Winkle Red, yes, it's technically people start coming in on Friday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be starting Friday at 4.
Yeah.
Friday at 4. Apparently, we got folks coming in early.
What'd you find this time?
So the scary part about these tins, in the thousands of tins, is the guy I got them from was a hippie and a pot grower.
Uh-oh.
So occasionally the tins make noise. I can't get this one open. If you guys can get it, careful when you open it, because it might actually have the real stuff in it for the tin. But there have been multiple tins that were like, whoa, no, not okay. So, oh no, it has the original one.
It's got the original pills in it.
It's got the original pills. Oh, how cool is that?
These are Tongaline tablets, a most effective combination for rheumatism, neuralgia, grip, gout, nervous headache, malaria, sciatica, lumbago, tonsillitis, heavy colds, and excess of uric acid.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. Don't close it too tight.
I didn't.
But, yeah, it's a 1910s. So
And I noticed that there's no ingredient list.
no, there's not.
Because it's probably a damn placebo to start with.
Yeah, unless it's an opiate.
Yeah, Kermit, there's no OEM parts anymore.
Wash those hands, stat.
Yeah.
I might have to do that. I'm not seeing purple bunnies yet, so it's
That's
cocaine.
not cocaine, it's the wrong color.
So it's Coke. So apparently we're going to have a full peanut gallery. So Thursday may be an interesting podcast.
We may have additional guests or comments flying over from the peanut
I
gallery.
may stick a whole bunch of people here and take questions from behind the camera.
Colombian marching powder, yes. And on that note, folks, we've wasted another hour of your time today.
Don't forget, Steam Powered Postcards launches Friday. We need to pay an 8-year-old young lady a decent royalty check. So y'all pass the word around.
Yeah, Twisted Tropes.
And Twisted Tropes.
Buy our book, please. Helps us pay for things like this party this weekend. And remember, folks, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Y'all be safe. See y'all Thursday, Friday/Saturday.
Or Sunday.